morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are dialing in. We appreciate you dialing in for another of our Sunday School series. As always, we appreciate you very much. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below or go to our Facebook page. You can leave a message over there or go to our website at webbaptist.com and we'll be glad to get back to you at our earliest convenience. Moving on with we're on the second stage of the study of Genesis. We're in the spring edition. Of course, last week we studied and we talked about Isaac and Abraham on the mountain of Moriah, and God testing Abraham for his benefit, not God's, of course. And so we're past that now, and we're a little bit older. So now in this lesson, we're looking for a wife for Isaac. So that's where we're going from. We're making a big leap into something else. And this session is called Guidance Needed. And so we're going to get into that and get things going. So when we look at this really quick to understand the context, chapter 24 of Genesis focused on the finding of a wife for Isaac. For the Lord promised to Abraham a multiplied descendants to be fulfilled. Isaac needed a wife. Therefore, Abraham sent his trusted servant, most likely Eliezer of Damascus, to find a wife for his son of promise from among the patriarch's relatives. So he says his most trusted servant, and we believe it is Eliezer because when all this first started and when God was promising Abraham an heir, the first thing he was suggesting and he was thinking was his most trusted servant, and he named him Eliezer of Damascus. So he knew that was just common back then. If you didn't have any offspring, that the most trusted servant, the most elderly servant of your household would become the heir to your property, so to speak. So it was common, and it wasn't no surprise that Abraham thought that would be his heir based on his age and what was going on. However, the Lord said, no, he's not going to be your heir. And of course, they tried to do the heir thing with the Hagar, the servant, the handmaiden for Sarah, and that fell through. And God said, no, that's not what I'm talking about either. So finally, Isaac's in the picture. He's born, and now the most trusted servant. It was never promised to him what he would be getting. So when Isaac came around, it was just one of those things that, okay, no big deal. Now that he has a servant, or now that he has an heir, if something happens to him, then that would be my master. Okay, and he was probably thinking the same thing when Ishmael was born, before he was driven out. So technically, the most trusted servant would have been the third in line in regards to inheriting anything from Abraham. Now, if we're being honest, I believe this servant, if it is, and we believe it is Eliezer, if it is him, he's been through a lot. He's been here probably, 3 decades or 4 decades, 30, 40 years under Abraham. So he's seen a lot of things. And he probably sees the many blessings that he has, and he's seen how God has done a lot with Abraham. So he knows, and he sees this. He sees the blessings. He sees the fruit of his work, of Abraham's work, his master's work, and he sees how God is blessing his master, and therefore he himself probably believes in God as well, as we will see. So, and I think that, there's enough wealth and prosperity with Abraham that those who are around him prosper as well. So I'm pretty sure that the servants had a pretty good life. And if need be, that they could be, I don't know about retiring. I think that probably you worked until you died back then. So, or until you were not capable of doing that. But I'm also pretty sure that Abraham, if his servants were to retire, he would take care of them until such time as he'd need to. So anyway, so this lesson, I'm kind of going off on a tangent there, but in this lesson, we're talking about getting a wife for Isaac. So now question, how is there comfort in knowing that God directs the steps of those who seek him? Well, That's a question I'm going to let you think about now. How is their comfort in knowing that God directs the steps of those who seek Him? Okay, so keep that in mind, and I'll let you answer that question. Really think about that question as we go through everything we are on this lesson. So, jumping right in. So, Genesis 24, verses 12 through 14. And as we see going up to this, as we said, Abraham is sending his most trusted servant to look for a wife. He gave him instructions and he gave him direction. The servant had some questions, but again, Abraham said, "This is what needs to be done. Trust the Lord," and that's what's going on. So we're catching up now. The servant is at the place he's supposed to be. He's got the mules and the gifts with him as well. So we pick it up from chapter 24, verse 12. Lord God of my master Abraham. So he's already acknowledging, the fruits, and he sees what the benefit of his master Abraham. He prayed, "Make this happen for me today, and show kindness to your master Abraham." So he's thinking of his master. He's not thinking of himself. He's praying on behalf of Abraham. "I am standing here at the spring where the daughters of the men of the town are coming down to draw water. Let the girl to whom I say, 'Please lower your water jug, so that I may drink,' and who responds, 'Drink, and I'll water your camels also.' Let her be the one you have appointed for your master Isaac. By this I know that you have shown kindness to my master, for your servant Isaac." Excuse me, for your servant. So he's saying here. So his prayer. Look at his prayer. He's putting himself kind of third on the list of the priorities. Is he not? He's praying to God. He's saying, this is a time where right now things are going to start happening, and so he probably knows that the women are coming to the well. And the women normally get the water, go to the well, and get the water for the households, for the families. So he knows what's coming. He knows the people that are coming, and a lot of times it's going to be a task for the daughters, or the women, or the widows. And so he sees what's coming, and he's saying to God, please answer, fulfill the prayer and answer the prayers of my master Abraham. Okay, and answer those prayers for my master Abraham for the benefit of your servant Isaac. So he's putting, he's kind of, he's doing this. He's not saying, "God, make this job easy for me. Find me a good-looking woman, and so I can just put her on a camel and let's head home. It's hot. I don't want to be here." No, he's not saying that at all. He's praying for direction. He's praying for answers, and he's being specific about it. Not only is he saying, because anybody's going to give him water, or maybe not. There may be a couple of ladies who would give him water out of the kindness of their heart. But to push further, to find the one that God intends for his servant Isaac. Remember now, the covenant's on the line, and there's a plan, there's a destiny that he may not understand, but he does understand how God is active through Abraham. And he's seen that. So it makes sense that he would pray a very specific prayer in light of his master Abraham, and in light of the servant Isaac. So yeah, all this kind of makes sense. He's being very specific. Not only, hey, if they give me water, but also if she offers to water the camels as well. Pretty interesting, isn't it? So again, he's very specific on it. And he, looking at the study guide, in need of guidance to find a wife for Isaac, Abraham's servant prayed to God. His master worshipped. So he prayed to the God that his master worshiped. Again, he's probably seen, apparently the servant had observed Abraham's faith and the difference that faith had made in Abraham's life. Again, we talked about that already. Abraham's example of faith motivated the servant to turn to the Lord for help in carrying out his important assignment for his master. So again, there was some instruction, okay? And I don't think, this servant would have, or Abraham would have been mad at his servant for praying, because prayer is always needed. I can always get instructions to go. Look at our lives. We have instructions on what we need to do every day. I need to go to work. I need to get groceries. I need to take care of this. I need to clean my house. I need to cut the grass. I need to do all these things. And I know they need to be done, and I need to go to the airport and pick up this person. I need to do this. I need to do that. And all these things in my life, I know that need to be done. However, it doesn't mean that I take God out of that stuff. There are sometimes during the day that we just need to pray for patience, wisdom, guidance, peace, all those things, especially when we have big decisions like buying a house, buying a car, or one day if we're getting married. Or we're going to have children. All of these things are things that we plan and we intend to do, but it's very important, if not most important, that we pray to God for that guidance. Is it not? So here, that's what we're looking at. So this is what the servant's doing. He's praying to God, and I think he's basing this. He sees the blessings that his master's had over the years. So he knows God's an active God. So it makes sense that he would sit there and he would pray to God. So looking at Holman real quick, pull this in. Where are we at? All right. So again, we think it's Eleazar. So Eleazar loaded up with all the goods of kinds of good things and headed to the town of Nabor. Yeah, which we know that. We position ourselves geographically, assuming Eleazar went to the town named for Isaac's brother Haran, located in Aram. So that's modern day Syria, by the way, and close to the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. He went there to the well, that served water for source of people in that area. So he knew that was a gathering point. So that's what he did. But he wasn't just looking for the local female population. He wasn't just looking for anybody over there. He had his spiritual eyes open. He had asked for divine help in a prayer for God to point out the appropriate woman beyond any doubt. And typical of the way God had dealt with Abraham from the beginning, before he had finished praying, Rebekah came out with her jar on her shoulders. We'll see. The prayer now becomes a plan as the servant hurried to meet her. He spoke, she spoke, and the sign was fulfilled. So as we're sitting there praying, we see the servant. He's in the middle of prayer. The world's moving around him, and the women are coming. And he's praying for what to come, so to speak. So it's very important. And God hears that prayer. He acts upon it. So question, what do you think prompted Abraham's servant to pray? Oh, well, we kind of covered that, did we not? He probably saw a lot of women there. Then again, he probably, I don't think he was in fear of Abraham in the fact that Abraham would be mad. He just wanted to make the right decision. He loved his master. He loved Abraham. There are all indications that he had a very tight relationship with his master Abraham. If he's the most trusted servant, that would probably mean that he would be in some line of succession if something were to happen to Abraham's children. So there has to be a bond there, a close bond, a very important bond. And he doesn't want to make the wrong choice. It's a very important choice. This is Abraham's first child with Sarah. So this is the heir of the clan. So not only does it, or the household and the family, so not only does it affect Abraham, but everything going forward, including the servant. So very important. So moving on, Genesis 24, 15, 20. Before he had finished speaking, there was Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel and son of Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor, coming with a jar on her shoulders. Now the girl was very beautiful and a virgin. No man had been intimate with her. She went down to the spring, filled up her jug, and came up. Then the servant ran to meet her and said, "Please let me have a little water from your jug." She replied, "Drink, my lord." She quickly lowered her jug to her hand and gave him a drink. When she had finished giving him drink, she said, I'll also draw water for your camels until they have had enough to drink. She quickly emptied her jug into the trough and hurried to the well again to draw water. She drew water for all his camels. Okay, so is there anything significant in regards to these passages other than the obvious that what was prayed for is fulfilled? There's no secret hitting meeting or anything like this. What he prayed for, God responded with, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a God in action and a God with results. He prayed for a prayer. He set specific guidelines and kind of a testing of the prayer to meet the need of his master and his future master Isaac. So that's what that's what's going on here. Okay, so he ran out to meet. He was probably standing there with his camels, and in a spot where travelers would probably tie up their camels or their herds or the livestock or their horse or donkey, and waiting to get something to drink. Now, did he talk to some women before? That's possible. It doesn't say that he did. There may have been some women like, get out of here, stranger. I don't talk to strangers. Get away. I'm going to pepper spray you or something. I don't know. That is possibility. There may have been some others that probably didn't look at him, probably shot away, moved away from him, walked around, and just didn't want nothing to do with him. But, for some reason, he felt that, hey, in this case, for this particular woman, not only did she fit the bill, but she fulfilled a prophecy. And so the servant knew at this point in time, Eureka, his prayer was answered. And we'll look in a minute how he responds to that. So her lineage was described in Genesis 24:15. Identifies Rebekah as the great niece of Abraham. After marrying Isaac, she became the mother of twins Jacob and Esau, and we'll see that pretty soon. And we're also going to see, we see a very vibrant, good woman, so to speak, a strong-willed woman here in the beginning, but we also see a different person in the mother as she tries to help Jacob more than Esau with his birthright. But we'll get into all that later. It's a different turn of everything. So anyway, Bethuel was also Abraham's nephew. So the genealogy is very important because one, it's what Abraham asked for. He wanted to get someone from his relatives. He didn't want to get he didn't want to get a pagan wife for his son. He wanted to get someone of the same bloodline, lineage. He wanted someone specific. And that's what he got here, and that's what God was blessing him with. Rebekah's identity was a descendant of Nabor and Milcah by Bethuel, provides the important genealogical criteria that Abraham has stipulated for a wife of Isaac. I just said that, didn't I? So moving on. The water was, of course, was scarce in the desert, and it was a meeting place. It was the place. It was a common place. It's something that you always need, life-sustaining, and so people would come there daily, sometimes more than once a day, and they would draw water as needed for the family and the needs of the family and the household. So those wells were very important. So he knew that he would be, he knew he would meet women coming because for the most part, it was a woman's job to pull the water for the households. It's either going to be the daughters or the wives or the widows in that order. So that's what we're looking at there. So how does the servant respond to all this? So we move on to chapter 24, 27. So, so we kind of jump ahead of this because we're focusing on the blessing and the need here. And of course, the servant prayed to God and thanked God and gave praises. And then he continues on with that. But we're going to follow it up here in between with 24. She answers him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nabor. So she's telling the servant her lineage. She also said to him, we have plenty of straw and feed in place to spend the night. Then the man knelt low, worshiped the Lord, and said, blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not withheld his kindness and faithfulness from my master. As for me, the Lord has led me to the journey of his house of my master's relatives. So again, the servant, he's kind of putting everything together. He's talking to her. She's meeting the criteria. She's the answered prayer. So what's the first thing that the servant does? He worships God, because God is worth his worship. He's worship. So that's what we're seeing right there. So he knelt down low. That's the form of bowing. He recognized God's hand in what just happened. And think about that now. When you're blessed and you feel God moving in your lives, hopefully more than not, how do you feel about that? When God gives me an unexpected blessing, or if I see where God's hand's just moving in my life in a way I can't explain, I'm blown away. Now, I'm blown away, but I also recognize the need to say, thank you, God. I praise you. I thank you. I love you. And just, for everything that you do. There's moments that I really, try to sit there and pray and just take it to God and say, I recognize you moving this. Sadly, I probably don't do it as much as I should. But that is something that, we look at the servant and we look at his reaction to the miracle. And the first thing he's doing, he's not, he's taking the moment to acknowledge God, is he not? He's acknowledging the miracle that's before him. Because it has happened just, for one, as his master Abraham has requested, and two, it has happened as he has prayed on behalf of his master Abraham and of his son Isaac. So, this is very important. This is an important lesson. So he's very he's bowed down low in a way of worshiping, God. Thus the emphasis, deep devotion, respect, especially in critical times. So he's showing, again, bowing low is this guy's this servant's almost a Christian, is he not? He's kind of got that feeling. He recognizes God and he's faithful servant to his master, and he's just an outstanding. I'm thinking that it is Eleazar, but if it's not, wow, Abraham's got a very good, trusted, and loyal servant here. Likewise, Abraham's servant responded with such an act of awe and reverence when he learned that the Lord had guided him to the house of Abraham's relatives. So he was like just in awe of this. And he had, what is our only choice but to worship him? Very important. So, that's what's going on there. So here now, of course, he's talking about blessed. He's blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not withheld his kindness and faithfulness to my master. So he's saying, blessed to the Lord who did not hold back. He provided the blessing. He answered the prayer. Blessed be an active God in this. So the address came as a formalized means of expressing praise to the individual because he has given out the abundance of his life. That's what God is doing here. Often the Lord has addressed, as it was addressed as blessed as the case here. Significantly, kindness and faithfulness are attributed to which he is frequently praised. So when we see these times of prayer and worship and praise, is because he shows his love, his kindness, his justice, his mercy, and his grace. It's unbelievable, and we should see that. And we should reflect that as well. So, question: how is answered prayer the demonstration of God's faithfulness? Well, this kind of answers its own question, is it not? When God answers a prayer, he's showing that he is an active God. He is in your lives. Hopefully, you've had a lot of answered prayers in your lives. And if you don't, keep praying. You're going to get an answer one way or another. It's either going to be a yes or a silent or a no, or it's going to be wait. And those the wait prayer, the wait answers are the ones that we usually have a trouble with. So keep praying and don't give up on God. He is very faithful. There's just so many times in my life that God has answered prayers, from small little things to much larger, bigger things concerning family and friends. And it's amazing to see that. God also answers prayer in our communities and in our nations. We see his work in a lot of things that we're doing with the people in our lives. How can we ignore that? So, how is an answered prayer a demonstration of God's faithfulness? I would turn that around and say a demonstration of God's faithfulness is answered prayer. It just is. So, Kittner, just want to drop a little note here on him, on just to follow up, because he's got some pretty good stuff too. So the phrase "God of my master" does not dissociate the speaker from God. It stresses the covenant with Abraham. Remember that, the covenant of Abraham, and of course the servant would know that because he got circumcised too, so he's part of it. To which the household was pledged by circumcision. Just said that, and pleads Abraham's cause. Success which inflates the natural man humbles the man of God. So success which inflates the natural man, gives him a big head, is what he's saying, humbles the man of God, which is what's happening here with the servant. The servant's first thought was for the Lord. The second was for his employer, the master, Abraham. And his final one with the unaffected delight for himself, which led him straight to the house, which, you see how the answered prayer is a blessing to everybody. It's not just to the servant, because the answer of prayer also affected Abraham in finding the wife for his son Isaac. So the blessing is not just, a lot of times the blessing in our lives is not just for us, but those around us. A lot of people can, sometimes those answered prayers are tenfold, so to speak. And people need to see that, and they hear that in your life and in your walk. So it's very important that people see that from time to time. Again, so we go back to the question at the beginning. Remember, I asked, how is there comfort in knowing that God directs the steps of those who seek him? I want you to think about that question and you answer that on your own, okay? Because I don't want to address that with you. It's something I really want you to think about, pray about, meditate on, and I'll ask it again. How is there comfort in knowing that God directs the steps of those who seek him? Think about that, okay? And next time you get together with the Sunday school class, y'all discuss it on your own. All right, thank you for being with me for another video. I appreciate it very much. If you have any questions or comments, please hit them in the comment section below the video, or go to our Facebook page. We have a lot of announcements, a lot of things going on over there. Always leave a comment, like and subscribe to that page, or follow that page, and you'll be notified every time that we do specials. And if you want to leave a question or comment or a prayer request on our website, you're more than welcome to do that at webbaptist.com. As always, we'd love to have you here at Webb Baptist. If you can come in and join us for a worship service, you are most welcome to come in and spend time. We will treat you as family, because you are family. And you will have a good time with us, and we will have a good time with you as we worship God. If you can't make it to Webb Baptist, please get involved in a Bible-based church wherever you're at. Plug in and see what God has got for you. If you're praying for a church, it's going to happen. Trust me, God's going to place you in a godly home with your godly family, with your Christian family. You're going to be a blessing to them just as much as they will be a blessing to you. I guarantee it. Okay? Until next time, take care and God bless.